celebration. And so that's what I did. And what I realized is that it became an everyday thing. And as a result of me, you know, like using alcohol and, you know, like smoking a lot of marijuana on a daily basis, it just got to a point where it wasn't doing what it used to do for me no more. And I did that up until around the age of about 19. And then at that point, the crack wave hit. And I had tried crack on more than one occasion, and the first couple of times that I had done it, it didn't really do anything for me. But like in the earlier stages of my life, like I always hung around older people. It just so happens that I was around a more experienced crack smoker at a point, and I explained that I didn't want none of the drug because it wasn't doing anything for me. And the person told me, you haven't been doing it right. And at that point, you know, I was open to suggestion because of the fact that I was into getting high. So the person showed me.
He showed you how to smoke crack the right
way, so to speak, how to smoke the crack. And at that point, I fell in love with the drug. And when I fell in love with the drug, right, crime and more crime ensued after that. The crime rate probably went up in the Capital District about 5%. You know, I threw bricks through windows, you know, did snatch and grabs, robbed stores. I did all types of stuff to get the next drug. And, you know, I also found myself in a position where, you know, like when I felt unsafe with going out and trying to rob a business or a proprietor or whatever have you, you know, like I made my family the victims. And the crack smoking continued to progress. A lot of people lost trust in me. A lot of people gave up on me. And when that happened, you know, I was forced to go to the streets to continue to get my drugs. And that's what I did. And as a result of having done that, the stakes were higher. And I took a lot of risks. Made a lot of bad decisions, and as a result of that, like I spent 20 years of my life in and out of jail, and it was a long, dark, painful road. But the funny thing is that like every time I got busted as a result of trying to do a crime connected to using or trying to find ways and means to get more, when I ended up in jail, I was never able to connect the dots and associate my arrest with the using. That was something that never dawned on me. I was so deluded that I always felt like, well, if I had ran down that street instead of this street, they wouldn't have got me.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Connection, right? I never made the connection that it was about the drugs, you know, and the things that were going on that was driving the usage that continued to get me arrested. And I have to say, like, it was dark, man, and it was real painful. It was lonely. And every time I went back to jail, somebody else gave up on me, you know. It got to the point where there were no letters coming in at different points when I would go to jail. Got to the point where nobody would send me a package, no money, you know. So basically, you know, I was living off of the land, you know. And like one of the biggest things that kept me was the grace of God, because like on some of those prison stints that I was doing, right? Like I don't know how I made it through. But I knew that I didn't belong there, and I knew that there was a better life for me, and I wanted to tap into it, you know. So like in spite of whatever type of situation that I found myself in, like one of the things that I did do, you know, like even out of prison when I was using, is that I used, right? And like after I used, a lot of the times I would pray, because I didn't like what I was doing at that point and the things that were associated with the using. But my addiction definitely took off. And like in the end, at the end of the road, there was a thing where I had been out of jail for about 13 months, which was the longest that I had been out since like the age of 17. And like I had gotten drunk with some guys, right? And being the addict that I was, you know, like I went to the store and brought a bottle, and they stole a bottle. And because of the alcoholic that I was, right, like not only did I drink my bottle, but I drunk theirs too, right? And what happened is, 2 months before, I can remember like laying in the bed and praying and, you know, asking like for the taste of that stuff to just be taken away. And like at 2 months, I found myself in jail, blacked out, and not knowing what I was charged with, how I got there, or nothing, you know. And after having been out of jail for 13 months, to having gone back, and like to wake up in that type of a situation was like devastating. And I think that it was at that moment right there that I surrendered. I knew I needed help when I continued to go back and forth to jail and couldn't find out how I kept ending up there. I also knew I needed help when family members started giving up, when people stopped letting me in their houses, right? When I felt the urge to steal everything that wasn't nailed down. And also, mainly, when I would work different jobs and like get my paycheck, right? And like cash my check and like take my using money off of the top and put that away, like I was gonna pay a bill, right? And like everything after that was, you know, like second priority. I also knew that I needed help when, after like runs on a Friday night or Saturday or what have you, just getting up and feeling real crappy and like saying, you know what, I'm not going to work today. And as a result of that